Leah, the woman Jacob never chose. Episode 7, The Woman Who Won. Last time we sat with Leah through the hardest entry in her diary. Her daughter Dinah, her son's revenge, and the rage and the grief and the holding on. Leah held her daughter that night and did not let go. Today, we reached the end of her story, and the end is not what you expect. Entry 10. Rachel, Genesis 35:16-20. Imagined interior. Rachel died on the road to Bethlehem. She had been in labor, hard, long, terrible labor. The midwife told her as she was dying, "Do not be afraid. You have another son." She named him Ben-Oni, son of my sorrow. Jacob renamed him Benjamin. I was not there when she died. I heard it from the servants, the way you hear the things that happen to people you love and cannot reach. Because I did love her. I need you to understand that. She was my sister before she was my rival. She was the girl I grew up beside, the one whose laughter I knew before I knew my own name for grief. The competition between us, the mandrakes, the servants, the sons, none of that erased the fact that she was Rachel and I was Leah, and we had been bound together since before either of us understood what binding meant. Jacob wept. Of course he wept. He set up a pillar over her grave on the road to Bethlehem. I watched him grieve the woman he had always loved. And something in me, something I had carried for a very long time, quietly put itself down. Not bitterness, not triumph, something more complicated than either. Relief. Perhaps that the war was over. Sorrow that this was how it ended, and something else. The understanding that Jacob and I were all that was left now. Just us. After everything, just the two of us. Entry 11. My last entry. Genesis 49:29-31. Imagined interior. Jacob is dying. He has gathered our sons around him and spoken over each one of them. Blessings and warnings and truths that cut close to the bone. He told Reuben he had defiled his father's bed. He told Simeon and Levi that their anger had been too fierce. He told Judah that the scepter would not depart from him. The scepter, the kingship, from Judah, my son. And then he said where he wanted to be buried. He said, "Bury me with my fathers in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the land of Canaan." There Abraham and his wife Sarah are buried. There Isaac and his wife Rebekah are buried. And then he said, "There I buried Leah." He had buried me there, in the cave of Machpelah, the same cave where Abraham lay, where Sarah lay, where Isaac and Rebekah lay, not on the side of the road in a moment of grief, like Rachel, in the family tomb, in the place of the covenant, with the patriarchs and the matriarchs of faith. Jacob had chosen Rachel his whole life. but he had chosen to spend eternity beside me. I have thought about what that means for a long time. I think it means that love is not always the loud, immediate, overwhelming thing it had been between Jacob and Rachel. Sometimes it is quieter. Sometimes it builds slowly in the space between two people who have lived and survived and grieved and raised children and grown old together. Sometimes the person who stays is the one who matters most. I stayed, not because I had no choice, but because Judah was worth staying for, because my sons were worth staying for, because the God who saw that I was not loved, who opened my womb and heard my crying and received my praise, he was worth staying for. I am one of the 4 women buried in the cave of Machpelah, the mothers of Israel. Jacob chose Rachel, but God chose me. And in the end, Jacob chose me also. Leah died and was buried in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron, the same cave Abraham had purchased for Sarah, the same cave where the patriarchs of faith were laid to rest. When Jacob spoke his final words, he asked to be buried beside her. Not Rachel, Leah. The woman with the weak eyes. The woman nobody chose first. The woman who named her 4th son Praise at the moment she stopped waiting for a man to complete her. From Levi, her 3rd son, came every priest who ever ministered in the temple of God. From Judah, her 4th son, the one named Praise, came King David. And from David's line, 1,000 years of waiting later, came Jesus of Nazareth, born in Bethlehem, in the territory of Judah, called the Lion of the tribe of Judah. The woman with the weak eyes, the one nobody chose. She is in the bloodline of the Savior of the world. If you have ever been left out, the one passed over, the one who watched someone else get chosen while you stood a little apart and said nothing, Leah sees you. And the God who saw that she was not loved, who counted every son she bore and every tear she cried and every quiet moment she turned her face toward praise instead of bitterness, he sees you too. Jacob chose Rachel. God chose Leah. And he has not stopped choosing the ones the world overlooks. Subscribe and bring a friend. These women's stories are just the beginning of imparting strength to those of us reading them. The next time we open a new diary, hit the notification bell for when she is posted. Until then.